Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Simple Stories. I'm using the FaBOOlous collection, which is obviously Halloween themed. Yeah, I've got these two Halloween photos and I have that fabulous stripy black and orange paper and I have a black background. And I had an idea to use a starburst design on this layout, and I decided to take a square piece, so that's about 10 inches square I think, put a dot in the middle and then randomly cut triangles towards the middle of the paper, and then distress the edges and fold them over and stick them in a wonky fashion, and it would all look like a starburst coming in towards the middle. That was the plan anyway. It didn't end up looking quite as I'd hoped, but it nonetheless is a perfectly good Halloween layout and good fun. It has lots of ghosts and pumpkins and things on it. So just because it wasn't quite what I envisaged in my head in the first place doesn't mean that it's no good. Anyway, yeah, I'm just distressing the edges of all of those pieces. It's a bit tricky when it was all attached to the middle section, but I have just about managed it without pulling anything apart, and I'm going to stick that to the middle of my layout. Now, what I probably should have done was kept it straight, but what I actually do is stick it wonky, so it wasn't, it does look a bit wonky. It's not ideal. I probably should have left it like that, so it's kind of like almost perfect. But I decided to turn it a bit and put it like the corner up a bit. Anyway, it just doesn't look as I expected it to look, but it kind of works. But yeah, it's not my favourite layout, put it that way. I should have left it like that, but I didn't. I turned it so it was wonky. Right now I'm adding some orange strips. So I've got some leftover strips from a previous layout, and I just thought it would be nice to add some orange details and some other details. I've got some black ones as well, in between some of the gaps there. There you go. So I'm doing that with the black and the orange, just to give it a little bit of extra definition. I thought that actually was quite cool and that looked really good. And so I wish I'd left it straight and not turned it on an angle, but anyway, I should not dwell on these things. Anyway, once I've added all of those, off camera I go ahead and get it all stuck in place, and I also add machine stitching down the middle of each one of the triangles. So say I do that off camera because my sewing machine, I can't move it, so it's in camera view. But yeah, so yes, you'll see me do that, or we'll skip forwards in just a moment to that point. Okay, so I have skipped forward. You can see that the stitching is in place. I did black machine stitching, and I've already popped in place a few pieces of ephemera, trying to see how it will all come together. I've grabbed a title from the foam stickers, Boo, and then I've got a big ghost at the top, and I've got a big pumpkin at the top as well, just tucked into my layers. They're not stitched in place, they're just tucked in, and I don't think anything's even stuck down at this point. I was just trying to see how things would work, and if I could make it all kind of work. Like I said, I'm not overly keen on the triangles at an angle. I also overlapped some, which I wish I hadn't have done. I wish it had a more uniform formation, but you know, I don't normally throw layouts away or start again. If I'm not happy with something, I normally just persevere and just put it down to being not one of my favorites, as opposed to, you know, I don't ever hate any of my layouts, but you know, I recognise that some are better than others, and definitely this is the case for this one. I say it's just not my favourite, but it's okay. It's fine. It's a good Halloween layout. I love all the bits. I love the ghosts and the pumpkins and the Boo and the skeleton poking out there, and all the florals are gorgeous, and I love that background, the stripes, the gingham print in the orange and the black is just fantastic. So I'm going just now trying to put my florals in, and they are going to be in a kind of diagonal formation, as this whole layout is kind of on the diagonal too. I love the little skeleton at the bottom there, is poking out, waving his hand, and then I'm just continuing to add lots of little bits and pieces, and keeping also folding up those corners, not corners, those edges of those triangles to make it all very, creepy and distressed and aged. Anyway, had a bit of fun with this layout. Just continuing to build all of those little clusters. Stars there, just adding a few little stars from the ephemera pack. There's a crow there, just trying out some different things. So everything's pretty much stuck down now. Just added in some little word stickers over on the right hand side. It says, so spooky, shrieks and screams, foolish mortals. Just putting a little pumpkin in there and another floral down there. Getting everything sucked down as I go along. I'm pretty much there. I'm just continuing to add a few bits and pieces. Chipboard now, a couple of bats at the top there. They're pretty cool. I love a bat on a Halloween layout. They always look like they're flying off, super spooky, into the distance, into the night. Adding some of those fabulous decorative brads now to the layout in a few different areas. I always like the extra texture that they bring to a layout. I like to have different things. So I like to have, paper products and then ephemera products and then chipboard and foam and stickers and decorative brads and enamel dots. So yeah, I like to have lots of different textures. So pretty much finished now. Just got to add some black paint splatters to all of the embellishment clusters, and then I'm going to call it done. So there we go. It doesn't quite look how I originally intended it to look, but these things happen, and it's still a brilliant Halloween layout with all those fabulous spooky items on there. So happy days. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the layout more than me. And that was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories.